Everybody. Shipping container home, DIY container home, live stream, we're back. So we are currently at a certain stage here. We've cut all 5 windows out. As you should be able to see, we cut all 5 windows out. That's the kitchen window. We've already cut all of our angle irons. And to give you guys an example of what these windows look like, with the angle irons just set in place. This is what they look like right here, set in place. This is going to reinforce the window openings. Now these are not final. I could pull this out right now with my hand. They're not welded in place. In fact, all 4 pieces, they're not even welded to each other as a single angle iron frame. My dad had this idea and we're going to find out soon if his idea works. What's up, Common Men? Welcome back. What's up, Corrado? Hello, welcome back. My dad had this idea, and it could make this process of welding the angle irons into place a little smoother, a little less work. He proposed this idea that would be less work. What if you just, after we already cut the hole out, hey, Julie Bennett, it looks like things are coming along. Yeah, I mean, all 5 windows. So just got to keep that pace going. We'll see if I can be done by July. We'll see what happens. So you have the angle irons. We cut the hole out. And we have I just put all 4 pieces into the hole. They're not currently welded together. They're not secured in place. It's just floating there, waiting to fall off if I just bang it. My dad had this idea, what if instead of having to lay all 4 pieces of the frame on the ground, and then, putting a carpenter square on the 4 corners, getting it really 90 degrees, getting it perfectly in place, and then go ahead and weld all 4 pieces together. What if we can just throw them into the hole? You put the bottom first. This is the way I designed it in the model anyways. You put the bottom piece first, then the sides. They rest on top of the bottom. And then this side rests on top of that. This is the way I designed it in the model to be done, as far as our cuts and everything. And then the top part rests on top of here and on top of here. And what if I just came in now with the welder and welded these suckers in place in their actual position as they just sit there loose? Well, I believe that's going to work just fine on this window because given the way it's currently sitting in the hole, all the measurements check out. It's square. Left to right, up and down, everything is measuring the way it's supposed to. I only have 1/8 of an inch shim gap once the window is put in here. The actual window, the window itself, the glass window. I have 1/8 of an inch shim gap all the way around the window. So it's not a lot of wiggle room for screwing up something here in the measurements. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and give that a shot. I'm going to do some quick double checking. Make sure everything is really, really looking good. Another issue with this method is, let me get the carpenter square. There it is. Let's get the carpenter square. Grab the level while I'm at it. Another issue, and I was telling this to my dad the other day, I'm like, well, I'm totally down to use your method, but I'm concerned about one other thing here. And that is, it's one thing for, if I grab the tape measure and I measure from this inside corner to this inside corner. But another issue is kind of like, how is this piece here sitting? Because you can kind of twist and rotate it. So, you don't want it to be slightly angled out this flat surface here. So you got to be really fucking. I shouldn't curse. I don't think it's good for the algorithm, but I want this thing to be pretty, square. So I haven't done this yet on this window. Take our square. Well, that checks out. I do not see any gap there, so that checks. What about up here? Okay, that's margin of error. Now this was an issue on that window all the way over there. That window, there was a clearly visible gap when I did this. So these things were not really like square with the whole unit. They were kind of like turned inward. Let's try here. So, yep, that checks out real well. And we'll try up here. And that checks out real well. Okay, so in that regard, I can sleep at night. That's all I care about. All I care about is, can I sleep at night? Let me double check the chat here. What's up really with Rennie? Well placed. Yeah, well, so I'm gonna go ahead and double check the measurements, and then it'll be time to do some welding. And this is a big deal because this will be welding this thing into its final location. It ain't moving after this. So let me go ahead and put this back on the tripod here. All right. Just gonna double check the measurements. Make sure everything is looking right before I finalize it, So again, if I take out my handy dandy measurements, the internal iron angles, 53 5/8. It's like right on there, guys. It's actually a 1/16 of an inch off. But again, I have an 1/8 inch shim gap already accounted for on the right side, the left side, and the top and the bottom. So I technically have a 1/4 inch wiggle room there, total. Maybe take the window frame out and put it in a square jig, then place it back and weld it in place. Yeah, that was kind of the original idea that I was going to do based on what I've seen other people do. Again, this is my dad's idea, so if this fails, it's his fault. No, but we'll see. We'll see. I think this one will work because this window, the way we cut the hole out was damn near perfect. We already tried some of the other windows, and it was a problem. It wasn't perfectly square. The dimensions weren't adding up properly. So it was close though. But this is probably the best one to give our first shot on. So that's what I'm going to do. But all right, so that one checks out. Yeah, trial and error. It's true, but you also don't want to make your life unnecessarily painful, right? It's like, yeah, trial and error. But another thing is that this is very permanent trial. This is like, once I start welding it in place, I mean, Jesus, I guess I can angle grind and blow up the freaking welds again. But that would be one hell of a hassle. You don't want to have to obliterate all your welds. So again, that's the deal. I'm going to go ahead and finish the measurements real quick. 53 5/8, And now this one here, internal angle iron, 38 and 70. That one is perfectly on point. Perfectly on point. Let me measure from multiple sides here. Yep. That's pretty good to me. The window frame looks like a television on the wall. That's what my dad said the same thing. Yeah, it looks like a high definition TV on the wall. All right. Do a quick level check. Do a quick level check. Because it can't hurt. It's about as good as it gets. That's about as level as it gets. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. All right. Now, my concern is that when I put the clamps on now, my concern is that it might cause everything to buckle and warp. So we'll see what happens in just a moment. Singularity in the chat says, are you a construction worker by trade? No, I'm just a total DIY noob. But in the era of Google, you know, it's amazing. You know, I don't think I would have been able to have built this house before the internet, because it's just, you know, knowing is 95% of the battle. But when all you have to do is Google something, it makes this whole thing so much easier. That's just the way it is. This is the world we live in. It's a lot easier now to learn about so many different things. I mean, here I am on YouTube. I can learn a lot on YouTube about these as well. So, it's gonna be interesting what happens when I put the clamps in, because here's the issue. Let me show you guys the issue. Sorry about that. So here's the issue. The issue is these container walls, I don't know if maybe it's after you cut the hole, but they start to kind of like warp in and out a little bit. So as you can see here, you can see this giant piece of the container wall, the corrugation, just poking out there. But you don't see the others poking out. This, I have to grab the clamp, and as you can see, just with my hand pressure alone, I can squeeze this in. And in fact, because it's not perfectly straight, the wall right now, it has a little bit of waviness to it. There's actually a giant gap under here. And I'm going to be welding this back side. I'm going to be welding it to the wall itself. So this gap here, there's no way I'm going to weld a 1/2-inch gap. So literally when I put the clamp now, imagine my hand is a clamp. and I squeeze this in, it's gonna slowly push that wall against this angle iron. And it's gonna seal it up real well, and I'll be able to get a good weld. And then once I take that clamp off, that weld is gonna hold it in place, no problem. So let me go ahead and put some clamps in. I have to remeasure once I put the clamps to make sure that all that pressure didn't change or readjust something. So let's do that. Welding the window frames in. So this could work, this could fail. Shout out to everybody in the chat, very active chat today. Any tips on websites to get floor plans for containers homes? Rephrase it. What do you mean? Any tips on websites to get floor plans? You mean like any good websites that you can go to find plans for container homes? Is that what you mean? TJWK says that window and view look awesome. Thank you. Corrado says, I was wondering how wide is the angle iron? 2" by 2" by 1/8" thick. But be careful, because the side walls of a container are slightly different than the wall all the way at the back of the container. That little 8-foot wide wall back there all the way at the end of a 40-footer, the corrugation on those is actually a little deeper than the corrugation on the side walls. So the 2" by 2" angle iron that sticks out perfectly, it sticks out just enough past the corrugation. Because I want there to be a little lip that sticks out just past the corrugation. The 2 by 2 angle iron works real well here, but on the back of the container, because the corrugation, the pockets of the wall are actually a little deeper. And I forgot to think about that when I bought these 2 by 2 angle irons. It just barely overhangs just enough to work, but it's a little bit too short. So it's gonna be fine, but I would have preferred it hung out just a little bit more. But that's something to think about. So you always gotta double check the actual container and all those little things, because sometimes your assumptions and your models don't always match the nuances of every container. Every container can be different. Different manufacturers, there's little changes. But that's just something you may not even think about. You might be like, oh, it works on the wall. It works on the wall, right? Well, no, that wall is actually slightly different. So I lucked out though, it ended up working. But again, this is 2 by 2" by 1/8", 1/8" thick. So let's go ahead and clamp it up. I want to say thanks to everybody for hitting the like button. Appreciate that. And let's put some clamps on here and see what happens. I'm hoping that it doesn't cause any. I'm hoping it doesn't go crazy here. Let me bring the camera over a little bit. I'm hoping that it doesn't like severely change all the measurements I just made in a serious way. Lower the camera here a little bit. Get you guys about there. So that's the deal. So let's see what these clamps are like here. Yeah, I think that's a good shot there. Okay, so clamp time. Here we go. Oh God, get a little nervous. You don't want to ruin your whole system here. And not just that, but I'm about to find out if this system's going to work even at all. Let me double check that these things are nice and firm here. Fermi's paradox. I don't know why that just came to my head. Okay, so this here is where the wall is sticking out the most. So I'm going to start with a major clamp here. Because see, here's the thing, actually, you got to think about things. There's a lot of little nuances happening here. You can't just jump in. You have to really consider. So I believe that it's probably going to be best to weld the bottom first. Weld the bottom first. But you know what? I think most importantly, because here's the thing now, you know, it's like, if the bottom wall here is wavy and stuff, and then I kind of force the clamp and force the wall, you know, but what about up top? What about the corrugation up top? That one needs clamping too. So the question is, should all four sides of the window be clamped and secured before I put a single weld? You know, it's like, so you got to think about things. You don't want to do things wrong. You got to think. So the thing is, I don't have enough clamps. These are the best clamps here. These put the most pressure, no problem. So I'll probably have these closest to wherever I'm going to weld at any given point. So what I'm thinking is, yeah, I think it's all right in that regard. So I'm going to go ahead and try to clamp this sucker in. I want to say shout out to everybody who's here from TikTok. I put a little shout out video on TikTok. So if you're here from TikTok, also known as White Girls Dancing. Let me double check the chat here. I was wondering, yeah, C-clamps, that's right. Jose Guzman, try to put the cell phone close to the window. The metal of the container blocks the signal. Common man, yes. 2x4 length of the window and clamp for an even pressure, less clamps needed. Yeah, that's not a bad point, actually. Yes, tips on good websites. No, I don't actually know any. I don't know any, actually. No, I don't. There was one DIYer who built a container home years ago, and they had their personal plans posted for like $5, but I don't remember the name of that. It was not like an official service or company or anything. They were just kind of like sharing it with people. Pretty sure they were charging. So no, I can't think of any, but I'm sure they're out there. I was curious about installing wider window frame than that angle iron. I was curious about installing. Well, yeah, I mean, you can. I'm sure you can go wider with that. Absolutely, I'm sure you can. I mean, some people do. Yeah, totally. You can check. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's give this a try here. You guys can see that. You guys can see that. So what I'll do is, because I really need to weld to this, so I'm not sure, and this thing's probably going to fall off and hit me on the head at some point here today, so let's just look out for that. But you know, I guess I can also do it like this, but that's not really where the focus is. Whatever, let's just see how this one, let's see what happens here. All right, let's just see what happens with this one. I'm gonna put this clamp on here. We're gonna see what it does. Now, I want to show you guys how quickly this wall starts to come in. So you can see the bit of the container wall sticking out here. It's always so hard to see with the glare. And if I just start to spin a little bit, you'll see, well, isn't that amazing? Isn't that incredible? You just start to see it come in. Slowly, it's pushing the container wall underneath the corrugation. So let's keep just a little bit here. Beautiful. As you can see, there's that little lip here. Little lip right now, it's not sticking out enough. It should be sticking out more. So I'm going to keep turning the clamp. Let's go back. Now you can see we're getting more of that little flange sticking out there. Now this top member here is sitting there. It's just held in place by the sides. So none of this is held here. So I want to be careful as I fidget the walls that this top one doesn't fall on me. Okay. Put you guys back here for a second. Let's go ahead and keep spinning this because see, this here now, the inside corrugation is now finally starting to get really close to the angle iron. That's what we're looking for. But I'm going to keep putting a little more pressure on here. Now we're really getting tight here. See, that's what I'm saying. Over here, really tight. I don't think I want to overdo it. I don't want to, just for no good reason, just over pressurize this. Just enough to get it where it's supposed to be. That feels really good. I think we can use an extra clamp over here on this side, because this still has about an 1/8 inch, just a little more than an 1/8 inch gap. So we're going to come put this one here. Okay, getting closer now. Make sure that top one doesn't fall on my head. Oh yeah, now I barely had to turn that one and it is pressurized. That is a great surface for welding. Okay, so you got these two suckers in place. We're really tight up against the wall now. Angle iron, this flange on this side, on the inside, really tight up against the corrugation. And that's what you want. You want to eliminate that gap between the wall and the angle iron so you can get a nice good weld in there. This one, no problem. This one, no problem. And all the way in the corner is really good. Now, that's great. That's great and all. But here's the thing. I just did a lot of tweaking. This wall just, God damn. I just did a lot of pressurizing. There might be some twisting and movement that just took place with the window. So I'm going to take the tape measure. I'm going to re-measure and make sure everything is exactly what it's supposed to be. Internal angle iron, 53 5/8 width. Okay, that didn't change. That didn't change. Let's check down here. .38 7/8. That's good. That's good too. Okay. Let me just do one diagonal just to be sure. 66.23. Okay, so the most important thing has been accomplished. I can sleep at night with those measurements. That's all that matters. That's half of the work of building this house, is being able to sleep at night because a certain question or thing you're not sure about is driving you crazy and you're worried that you've screwed up. So just being able to ease my anxieties is a big deal. All right, guys. So here's the situation now. The measurements are perfect. The walls are now clamped in such a way that I can go in and weld it. The angle iron is sticking out enough so that there's that little lip hanging off, which is just about perfect, I would say. Everything is square and proper. So, you know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if I should weld the 4 pieces to each other first. You know, weld the corners where the angle irons meet first. And because I can weld the 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of angle iron. I can weld them at the corners to each other first, or I can focus on the bottom one that I just clamped. I can weld that to the container wall itself first. Because if you just tuned in, these 4 pieces of steel that are going to reinforce the window, they're just sitting in there right now. They haven't been welded. There's nothing really holding it in place but the fact that it's in the hole there. I can pop the top out, easy right now. So, double check the chat real quick. Hey, Moises from Mexico. What stage will things need to be at before you can sleep in there? I would say that I have to have the windows and doors installed and at least the insulation, the spray foam insulation already sprayed in there. Then I can sleep. Doors and windows installed so that everything is sealed, keep the bugs out and the rain out, and wind and whatever. And then the spray foam because it's insulated so it won't get too hot, or I guess for that matter, too cold in here. Maybe I'll have some kind of like little air conditioner or something, but. Common Men, $5 super chat is looking good. Great job. Cool, man. Thank you very much. Common Men. So that's where we are. That's right. So, part of the reason I'm thinking about welding the 4 pieces together first is because I feel, that's a little strange. Ideally what I would do is I would clamp all 4 sides before I do a single weld. That way I know that every part, see, look up here, the angle iron still has gaps. There's still a big gap between the angle iron and the corrugated wall. I need clamps up there. Now here's the thing, right? So I just measured it and it's all square and everything adds up. But if I weld the bottom here to the wall first, I still have to come up here and squeeze the walls into the angle iron. That's another thing, Is this a flat plane? From here to here, is that a flat plane? And how do I determine that? So this is all, these are all the questions now that arise from using this method of just throwing the metal into the hole and welding it there. These are the questions that arise. I don't know. And you know, does it matter? I mean, I think it does matter to a degree, yeah. It definitely matters. Because right now, what's making this a flat plane, meaning that the entire angle iron frame, this inside surface of the frame, is all on a flat plane. It's not, you know, crooked like that or crooked like this. The main thing that's determining that is the corrugation of the walls of the container, because the angle iron just went all the way in and up against the walls. And we already know that these walls are wavy, because I had to get clamps to squeeze them into place. Does it matter though? That's the question. I don't have a level that big. I'm not sure how I feel about these gaps up here. It's kind of hard to see right now. Change the lighting there. There we go. There are little gaps up there. So I closed the gaps on the bottom, but the top, where I'm going to be welding the wall to the angle iron, right here, the gaps are too big right now. So what I'm thinking of doing, maybe I can just put a few more clamps up there. You know, I just, yeah, I mean, this here is actually pretty good. There are some variations on the vertical, but it's pretty consistent from top to bottom. That little gap between the angle iron and the corrugation on the vertical pieces over here. These are, I mean, I can almost weld it without even putting clamps. It's that good. So, what if I welded the 4 pieces together first? I just came in right now, put the welds in the corner, put the weld in the corner for the angle iron, put the weld over there in the corner, connect the angle iron, and make that a unit. No, I shouldn't do that. It's a little bit strange, but all right. You can install a level on your phone. You know, I have a level, I just don't have a level that big. If you know what I mean. Yeah, that'd have to be a pretty big level. That'd have to be a pretty big phone. No, the problem is I don't have a level that's, you know, 53 inches wide to get from one side to the other. But I don't even think that would actually solve the issue. Because it'll be level on a plane. But is it level with the container walls themselves? That's part of the question, if that makes any sense. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit here the rest of the day and enjoy the view. Oh man, I tell you, bro. It's going to be interesting when this is done. It's going to be something. I think I've said it before. I think I'm going to go into a coma for like 2 months straight. All right. Yeah. Okay, you know what? All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a few clamps up here, squeeze the wall against the angle iron. Just give it a little extra pressure. I'll remeasure real quick, and if the numbers still add up, then I feel good, and then I'll go ahead and I'll start welding. It's fine. Okay, so let me do that. Let me get a. These are not as good as the other ones, so, but they'll have to do. This is going to be on that. Let's see if we can get some progress here. Size of the gap right now, it's already closing. That one is solid. This one is getting better. Very nice. That one is now really good. Let's come over here. Let's grab another clamp. Oh, I'm already knackered. Julie Bennett. But you know, this is overall though, it is still fairly fun. So it's an interesting paradox. You know, so sometimes things that are incredibly exhausting can still be very fun and fulfilling. And maybe some things that aren't that exhausting, but aren't motivating or fulfilling, maybe those in a sense are more draining at the end of the day. Because you know, at the end of the day, I go to sleep, I get my rest, I wake up, and I can do it all over again out here. So whatever, yeah. So I'm gonna put one here now. You guys see that? You guys can see that already. It's mostly, there we go. There we go. We're going to go ahead and put this one here. This is still pretty bad there. Okay, that's getting better. These are perfect. These are all perfect. This one still has a solid 1/8 inch gap, not ideal. So we're going to keep doing it. There we go. Oh, I'll weld to that, no problem. Yeah. Oh yeah. Now we're good. Now we're good. Okay. This one will weld perfect. This one will weld perfect, 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 perfect. Perfect down here. Really good. Really good. I'm not going to worry about the sides. I'll do those afterwards. Let's get the tape measure. Let's check these measurements again. Make sure nothing got twisted or... Windows and doors arrive tomorrow. They're going to be delivered tomorrow, windows and doors. Nothing has changed. Not there anyway. 53 and 5/8. 53 and 5/8. Nothing has changed there. $38 and 7/8. Double check. Dead on. Dead on. Do a diagonal. Do a quick diagonal. All right. Okay, we're good. That is looking really good. Really flush. I like that. That's good. That's good. Okay, I think we can weld. I think we can weld. All right. Just double checking whether it's wisest to weld to the wall first or what, or should I weld the 4 pieces together first? You know, everything is looking really good right now. I just remeasured it. The walls of the container on top are perfectly pressed against it. Everything is really good. I'm wondering if it's so good that I should go ahead and just weld all 4 pieces together. Double check these. Still good. Still good. Still great. Still great. Let me see some. What about this way? See, this is always a problem. This is always a problem. Look at that. Wow. See, that's a big issue. How about this? This one's not too bad. So that doesn't really work that way. No, that has no bearing on that. It's like this, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Well, I think the point is that I think it's within tolerance, so that's all that matters. My concern is the top here, this underside here of the angle iron, you know, I'm concerned that it's not perfectly level, that it might be sticking out the window, you know, kind of like that, or like that. It needs to be, you know, nice and flat. But, you know what, I think it's all right. I think it's going to be enough for... It's all about being within tolerance, right? It's all about being within tolerance. Can you imagine that view in a creek, river, lake, right beyond the view? That'd be awesome. All right. Here's a good thing. You know, here's the good news. The windows come tomorrow. So I might be able to take a bit of a gamble on this one, fully weld it, finalize it, and then just throw the window in there and see if it fits. I mean, technically I need well, that does arrive tomorrow too, actually. My dad said he's going to pass by tomorrow, so I asked him to pick up some PVC board. This PVC board is actually going to act as the buck. Right on top of the angle iron frame is going to rest all around it. This 3/4 inch, this is wood, this is just an example. PVC window buck. It's just a PVC board. It's going to stick basically like that. It's going to go, you know, all the way around. And that goes right up against the angle iron. That goes right up against the angle iron. Anyways, all right. Stop wasting time here. Say shout out again to Common Men for hitting the super chat. Everybody else who's in the comments or in the chat, that is, and everybody who's hit the thumbs up, thank you. So let's just go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do this. I'll just weld it to the wall first. It ain't gonna move after that. Sticking out real well, just the way I want it to. It should stick out equal everywhere, actually. Yeah, that's another thing. You know, it shouldn't stick out unequally in certain spots. That's a little strange to me. So let me make sure that we're really getting just about equal. See, that's not sticking out equally, but I'll have to come back up to the top. Let's do something. Let's put a couple more clamps in. This is like really sticking out here. This could use a little extra. This is really good. This is like the best because it's between two clamps. I think that's pretty good. So let's this one needs some help. So let's fix that one. that's just crazy, man. But hey, I mean, it's the way it's supposed to be, so. That's what I'm talking about right there. You know, because that right there is what's really defining how far in it goes. So this is a little strange. This is a little weird. I'm just gonna put as many clamps as I can. Screw it. Screw this. Hey, why not? Because it's where the angle iron sticks out the window. That little lip that sticks out is different lengths depending on where. So I think it's because there's not equal pressure along the entire wall. There's not equal pressure along the entire wall right now. So maybe by putting just nice, good 4 clamps, it'll be a little better, a little more consistent. Because that is not that much. That is a lot. That's all we'll have to do. We'll just have to put, you know, just clamp the whole thing up, that's all. Not a big deal, right? That's what I'm hoping, you know. I'm hoping that once I weld the inside, it won't want to pop back out again. It can't. There's no way. Careful. Careful there, buddy. Okay. All right. Now we're feeling equal. Now we're feeling equal. Yes. Okay. The key here is spots like this. There's literally like a little hole pocket up here. See, I literally stick my fingers here. And of course, that's caused by the corrugation coming in and out, in and out. But what I'm really concerned about is right here, where the corrugation comes into the house and then touches flush right up against this angle iron. I see there's no gap here. There's no gap here. This is where I'm gonna be welding to. Weld right there. Again, here we have another pocket where the corrugation goes out, the corrugation comes in again, weld right there. So that is really good right now. A couple extra clamps up there just so that everything is kind of closer to where its final location is going to be. I didn't put any clamps here, even though they probably needed a little bit, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. Okay, I think we're ready to weld. And again, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to Uh, yeah, I'm gonna weld to the wall first because the walls need all the clamps. And once I do the welding, I can take the clamps off. Hopefully. I highly doubt the welds are gonna break because the clamps aren't doing all the work anymore. Highly doubt that. Now here's the thing. Now that I think about it, this literally just occurred to me. This is the first time that I'm gonna actually be welding the angle iron steel reinforcement to connecting it to the container home wall itself. So I am actually not very familiar with welding. In fact, I've never welded anything to the container home wall steel. It's a certain thickness, it's a little bit different. So I'm probably gonna have to grab a piece of scrap container wall cutout over there. Have a giant stack of, from all the walls we cut out in here, windows included. Gonna have to grab a scrap piece of that, grab a scrap piece of angle iron reinforcement, and I'm gonna have to do a quick test weld onto one of those container wall cutouts so that I know that my settings are right, so that I understand, where to directly direct the weld current to. I imagine I'm going to be maybe angling it more to the, and because the last thing I want to do, guys, is have the settings on the welder wrong and blow holes through my container wall. When I come here now and I put this weld here, I don't want to blow a hole through my container wall. So I got to double check that. Put this here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab a piece of container wall cutout real quick. Grab that. And I think I can probably weld out here on the floor. Some in here, inside the container home. I think I can weld. Do a quick weld on the ground. I'll have to elevate I have some of these that'll work. That'll work. Because I don't want to have to weld out there again. Last time that was a hassle. So I can probably set something up here, right here on the container floor. You know what? I'll just go to that table that I always do it, even though it's a shitty, not flat table. But nah, screw it. I'm gonna do it here on the floor somewhere. All right, let me set things up. So let me first. I have to get the extension cord. I have to cut a piece of metal off of that. I can do that in here as well. So let me start by just grabbing a piece, one of those cutouts, which they're probably hot because they've been baking in the sun. So I'm going to use my welding gloves. I could cut it out from here, actually. That would be a lot wiser. Yeah, why would I ever do that? Why would I do that? Why would I ever drag that whole thing in here? That doesn't make any sense. Let me, I'll just cut it out while I'm out there. All right, what do I need? I need an angle grinder. I need an angle grinder. Cut some pieces of metal off. Angle grinder. guys with me over there real quick. The grasshoppers are coming back. Okay, let me get the angle grinder. Let me double check the chat here real quick. Looks really good. Says Defiant Smash. Thank you. See if this thing's even connected. So again, I'm just going to cut a little piece off because I need some practice container wall to do some quick practice welding and make sure that I have the settings right. Let's cut this off real quick. All right. That'll give me something to work with, get a couple practices in. Hopefully the settings I always use for welding, which has worked on so many different conditions and situations, just works on this one too, which I think it might. This is some pretty thick metal here, man. This is a container container walls are pretty, it's a very, it's very durable metal. Okay, got that. Let's come back into the thing here. Angle grinder there. Put our thing there. We're gonna do some quick practice weld. I'm gonna do it right on the floor of the container. Yeah, I'll tell you, man, so far welding has not been what you see a lot on YouTube. A lot of what I see on YouTube welding, it's some guys in their air-conditioned workshop sitting in a nice comfy chair. All the welding I've had to do for this thing is like I'm upside down, hanging off the roof, you know, sitting in the direct sunlight, melting. So, okay, now I just need to get the other power cable for the welder. I'll be right back. Oh, my helmet falls off. Yeah. Thankfully, I don't need a generator. Not going to do a practice run on my damn container home. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right. This will be the testing area. Test weld. So, do some quick test welding here. Confirm the thing. Hopefully, I'm not going to burn a hole through my container floor, but it's okay because I am going to be adding a floor on top of this. Originally, I was going to keep the original container floor as the floor, but those plans changed because the epoxy looked horrible. So I'll be adding some vinyl, luxury vinyl tile floor, whatever the hell it's called. So I think this will be fine. I say, just use both of these. We got some scrap angle iron. This is the actual frame of the window. So we're going to be welding this to the piece of steel I just cut out. This is literally a section of container wall. So this is my test specimen. We'll be welding that to that. Should be pretty straightforward. Let me get a clamp just in case. A clamp. Get a clamp here. I think we'll be okay welding that close to the floor. I will be needing, I'll have to clean the metal off, so I'm going to need a flat disc. I actually have one right here. That. Now where's the little key for the angle grinder disc? There it is. These two here. That should be enough to get what I need to get. I'm just glad I have a flat surface, unlike that piece of crap table outside. Brutally hot leather jacket for welding, and of course you need your welder. Put this about here. Grab the extension cord. Got our extension cord. Let's unravel this. Let me spin that over there. You guys can see that. Let me unravel the welder here. There we go. You know, I'll just do a couple quick welds, and if the metal is behaving the way it's always behaved, and at any other time that I've welded on the container home, then I'm pretty confident I can proceed without blowing a giant hole through my shipping container wall. So, do that. I want to say shout out again for Common Man for hitting a super chat. Appreciate that. This will obviously be our ground. This is our ground here. This is our ground cable, ground wire, whatever you call it. So get that in place, get that ready. So let's just see if it turns on for one. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so that's good. That is good. So, yeah, there's a few things I want to be 100% sure about. But yeah, this should be okay. So. Hey Nestor, thanks. Get yourself a welding mask or put a big fan to blow out the fumes. Yeah, that's true. Luckily I am kind of outside and there is wind blowing. But you're absolutely right about that. Make sure there aren't any giant spiders in here. So, this will be more than enough. Hopefully, hopefully the epoxy doesn't ignite. I don't know, is epoxy flammable? It may be. I had put a bunch of epoxy over the entire container floor, sealing it. It's really just a matter of how close the weld is. But let me see if I can elevate myself a little more here. Yeah, why not? Just grab one of these 2x4x8s. Yeah. Let me get the work area prepped here. I'm probably being overly cautious, but do I want to burn down the whole house? Probably not, so. I'm just going to add a couple extra pieces of wood to keep my little temporary little thing, keep it a little more elevated off the ground. A couple more pieces of wood here. This is the actual wood that's going to be used to frame the house. And the framing is going to start fairly soon. Okay. Now, I have a lot more elevation. I like the idea of welding right onto that. Don't worry, I'll move the camera in a moment. Quick weld. I'm going to cut this into like 3 pieces so I can go a couple tries in. Okay, let me cut this down into 3 pieces real quick. It is hot outside, man. Wow. All right. It's just a hot day. It's a hot day. Oh, 3 pieces. Do a couple test welds. Yeah. Let me see what my setup's gonna be here. So let me see, I'm going to set this up so it's nice and stable. This is pretty self-explanatory. That's not going to go anywhere. So I just need to grab one of these pieces, and then, you know, what would be the equivalent of the kind of weld I'm doing? Something like that. Use the container wall, and it's underneath the angle iron. And I just have to put a nice weld there. So let me think of how I'm going to secure this here. Here's an idea. Let's do this. Let's move that over there. And then this will hold it in place, and then that'll sit on top pretty effortlessly. Wow, it helps so much to just have a flat surface. That other little table is such a piece of garbage. All right, so that is probably a good recreation of the weld that I'm about to do right there. That's probably a really good recreation. So that, thank God, just holds itself. I won't even need a clamp for that. And in preparation for the upcoming, so let me, here we go. Let's take advantage of what we have here. Take advantage. I'm going to have to do multiple of these. So that'll be a fantastic recreation, number 1. And we'll go number 2. Now first though, I have to clean these. So let's switch over to our flat disc, I think it's what it's called. Take this sucker off. Let's double check the chat here. All right. That's all right. Okay, now let's just clean these up real quick. Yes. I just have to do the edge. Proper weld preparation is key. All right, you can see that. Let's go. So the next one, this is a bit, it's kind of annoying, takes extra time. You just want to go straight to the weld. But the good thing is, I only got to do this one time. One time and just confirm that I have the weld settings proper. And then I can, after this, anything I have to weld to the container walls, generally speaking, I'll probably be pretty comfortable going with the settings that I've already used. Last one. All right. Wonderful. Now, this would be like this, and I would really just have to clean the very edge of that. So let's clean the top and maybe that there. Yeah, well, actually, you probably want to clean underneath there. That could pose a problem for the actual window, because I already have it clamped in but I cannot, what's it called? I cannot flat disc underneath. That being said, though, I think there's just enough of a connection between the clean metal that I just did, that clean metal, and what I can see from the top of this. So I think it's going to be fine, just enough to get that connection from one piece to the other, which connects the ground, completes the circuit, and then allows it to happen. So first, let me, I already had this edge cleaned off the other day, so that's good. How's your ears from all the noisy tools? Yeah, you know, usually I have little earplugs on, but I won't be doing too much of this. This is just a quick thing. Welding doesn't really cause any noise that I can think of, any serious sounds. So should be all right. Yeah, you know, it's not just cutting things with an angle grinder. When you cut things with an angle grinder inside of a giant steel box called the container home, those sounds reverberate and they echo and they get really loud. Okay, so let me just clean this up here real quick. I think that'll be enough to get the job done. So let's go ahead and do our first practice weld. It's not ideal, but I mean, unless I'm going to take all the clamps off the window and take the angle irons off and then clean them off and then put them back and clamp them again and then remeasure and make sure all the measurements are good, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. I think I'll be fine. I think it'll be good. There's just enough room there to clean the metal up. All right, so let's go ahead and actually do the weld. It is now time to do the actual weld, practice weld, and we're going to find out if the settings are good and be able to proceed from there. I heard one guy tell me a while ago during a live stream in the chat, he said, do not weld for too long of a bead, and that'll help prevent blowing through the walls of the container. So don't keep that welder just going and going and do small pieces. And really I only have to do about an inch weld, and that'll go by really quick. So let me if the weld is happening here, I'll be like this. I think you guys can see that pretty well. I need the this, and I need this. All right, let's see what happens. Let's find out. Moment of truth. Hopefully I don't have to do anything too crazy, too different. Now I know that this is wood. You don't want to ignite your freaking wood, but let me do something just so I'm 100% sure. I'm going to elevate this up a little bit. This is still nice and flat and flush. There we go. Just elevated it off. And this is where I'm going to weld so you guys can see that. Does the heat get to you? No, not yet, but it hasn't been truly summer yet. So we'll find out how it starts to feel soon. All right, let's get ready. It's time to weld. Ground, get our ground ready, it's very important. Got to get my ground in place. There. Put our ground on. Good. Good, you guys can see the ground too, nice. All right. We are currently set at 7 and 7 on the welder. That just seems to always work. Welder back a little bit. Like that. Not liking the way that sounds. Sounds a bit weird, but that's fine. Okay, so I'm going to be right here. You guys should be able to see that pretty well. Got the ground. An unfortunate detour, but this is a one-time thing, so here we go. Let's do the test weld. Probably come in with my left hand here. Yeah, definitely with the left hand. Okay, one more time. Ground. Got my leather gloves, leather boots, got my apron. Machine is plugged in, machine is on. Settings are where I want them. Again, the ground is there. Am I missing anything? I think not. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go. We're going to go pretty high up like that. And I'm going to target it. All right, here I go. We're going to target. Target right in there. A bit rough. I think it was the angle at which I was directing it. It's not bad. I also didn't blow a hole through the back. I did not blow a hole through the back. You can see where the weld was targeted. You can see the mark coming through, but as far as I can see, not a single hole was blown through, so that's good. I think the main thing that I should fix is the angle and the direct spot. The direct spot where that needle, that welding wire is hitting. I think I need to really hit that corner, really hit it. Because this was kind of, yeah, I was leaning, I was hitting this too much, this side here. It's not like, you know, you can hit this too much, you can hit that too much. By the time I got to this side over here, I really felt like I was getting both of them and joining them together. You can kind of see that. And you can see at the start, you know. So, yeah, let's move on to the second attempt. Second attempt here. I'm gonna put this sucker right there. Attach your ground. All right, I think I moved a little too quick last time. I need to really watch that puddle, really make sure that I'm joining both sides together. And I think this next one could come out a lot better. I need to really make sure that I'm targeting this top here. So let's go again. Let's see how we get this one. I think I'm going to get this one a lot better now. I'm going to go a little slower and really watch that puddle. So let's go. Now I went a little slower that time, and again, I don't want to go too slow because then I'll blow a hole right through the container wall. So I got to be careful on that. It looks a lot better from this side. This was the first one. This was the second one. A lot less sloppy. A lot more straight. And without a doubt, definitely hitting both sides real well, I would say. Let me look at that up close. I really like the way that looks. And you turn it around, if you turn it around, you know, I think it's looking all right, man. I think it's looking okay. This one is the one I just did. Again, you can kind of see sort of that burn mark of the weld kind of going through, but you don't see like a giant hole that was blown open. You know, there might have been a little bit, I don't know, and maybe it just got automatically filled in as I welded, but that doesn't look bad to me. You know, a lot of times from what I've seen, you know, this is just my amateur opinion, right? But from what I've seen, so a lot of times, even in a good weld, when a real professional does it, you'll see sort of a mark appear on the other side. I don't think that's an issue. So that, I mean, that looks good. I don't think the settings are too high, so I think we can go with the settings. My hands can't break it, that's for sure. Not that that's a measure of anything, but again, that's a really good weld, from my amateur opinion anyways. I think that that looks good, and again, the settings are what I was hoping for. So again, the lesson I would say is really target the needle right into that crevice, watch the puddle and make sure that puddle is nipping both sides. Move slow enough so that the puddle is actually forming and actually, you know, globbing into both sides, but don't move too slow so that you end up potentially burning a hole through. So I'm going to do one last practice to make sure that I can do that consistently, and then it'll be time to weld the walls. To the other side. There we go. I think that'll do it. Having a hard time balancing this piece of crap. Let's see if this works. Okay. Okay. Let's do this. Let's freaking do this here. Okay. Here we go again. We're going to go in, target, so that I can do this consistently. All right. Okay. Looks like I can repeat it. Looks good to me. I went a little slower this time. I feel like there's a little more protrusion on the back. I don't think it's an issue, but I probably didn't have to go that slow. Number 1, number 2, number 3. This is number 3 here. This is what the back of it looks like. You get that kind of sear mark that goes through, but it's not like blowing holes through that I can, certainly not that I can see after the fact. It's totally sealed. And it's not bulging out extremely. There's tiny little bumps. In fact, the one that I just did has the most, these little bumps sticking through the other side. Just tiny little, really tiny. These barely have any. I moved a lot slower for this one. So maybe that's just the heat and the pool actually protruding through. But I think that's, so again, here's all 3 welds. This is number 1. Fairly sloppy, messy. This is the second one. And then this is the last one. So I think it'll work. I'm happy with that. I'm not concerned about blowing through the container wall. Don't move too slow, I think is the key. And make sure I target that weld pool into both surfaces. And I think it'll work. Okay. So we got that out of the way. Got that out of the way. And I would say it's probably, it's honestly, I'm targeting that wire pretty much 50-50. Pretty much 50-50. Right into the corner. Boom. Okay. Yeah, right. So, what does this mean? So now we come back to where we began with the container window. We're back again. You see something here. Just load this. How are we looking here? %, battery. We'll be all right there. Okay, so let me put the flat disc, polish those off in preparation for welding real quick. Where the hell's my water at, man? Didn't I bring a bottle of water out here? Leave those two out for now. Let's go ahead and target these. All right. Okay, so those are ready for the weld. So let's go ahead and get that in place. I'm just gonna move the welder over. Get it over there. Yep. Over here. Should be fine. I need a nice ground spot. Let me do that real quick. Let me make a ground. Okay, so, yeah, so let's get a good position. Put you guys right there. Okay, let's do it. So, kind of a different position, different angle this time. Kind of coming from underneath. So, just come in, target that, finish her off, target that. It actually almost feels like an overhead weld, overhead position. Let's get this wire cut to length. And yeah, ground connected, helmet, gloves, apron. Double check the GoPro. That's perfect. Okay, let's see how this goes. It's slightly different position, so it's going to be a little different. And again, the lesson that I learned was, don't go too fast, don't go too slow, and it should be about right. All right. I'm going to have to be underneath like this and always stay on the left side so I could actually see the damn thing. Yeah. It came out a bit rough. Came out a bit rough. But then again, I haven't brushed off the flux core splatter. Let's see what it looks like. It's not that bad. I panicked. I was concerned that I was moving too slow. And I didn't give it time for the weld puddle to really develop in there. So I kind of moved too quick. But overall, it looks okay. Let me get you guys a close-up shot. So you guys a close-up shot here. It ain't the end of the world. It's not too bad. Make sure I get the. It's a little hard to show you up close, but it's pretty good. I'm just going to go slower next time and really, actually, I'm going to take a look from the outside now, make sure I didn't blow anything through. I think it should look pretty good. But otherwise, The concept is proven. It should be fairly smooth sailing now for the rest. Wow. Well, I only got 9% battery left, guys. So what I'm gonna do is we've been going for 2.5 hours here. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream there. I'm gonna proceed to continue welding. Probably go live again tomorrow as well. So if you haven't already, so you're notified when I'm live, hit that bell icon, click the all button, and you'll get that notification when I go live. So that's it. So I want to say thanks for everybody who watched. Common Men for hitting up that super chat, $5. I do appreciate it. As well as everybody else who's been here watching. A lot of comments today. But I'll be doing more of these streams. So looks like this is going to work out fairly smooth. Hopefully. The real determinant is when I finish welding the whole thing, do the measurements still, are they still good? Is the window still going to fit properly? All right. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm going to keep welding. Take care of yourselves. Later.